So with James Gunn and Peter Safran rebooting the DCEU, now named the DCU, I wanted to talk about some directors I would love to see helm a couple of projects in the next 10 years. Now, I'm not going to include Gunn himself on this list because while I do love him as a director, my best guess is he'll be commanding things from afar like what Kevin Feige does at Marvel. So let's dive right in. As mentioned in my video on making Kick-Ass 3, Matthew Vaughn is one of my favourite filmmakers working in Hollywood today, and if his work on Kick-Ass has taught us anything, then it's that he knows what to do with the superhero genre, and Kingsman taught us that he can certainly work in the spy genre too. Now in terms of what I could see Vaughn working on, I would love to see him direct a Flash movie, because Kick-Ass, while extremely violent, also felt a bit light-hearted, which is what I'd love to see Vaughn bring to a Flash movie in particular, because the Flash, no matter what iteration we're looking at, is more of a light-hearted character. Barry Allen and Wally West have that trait especially, so I'd love to see what Vaughn could do with those characters. Now the main and well only reason that David Fincher is on this list is because he's one of my candidates to work on a Batman movie. Now as far as I know, the Reeves Batman universe will remain untouched and like the Joker universe will remain its own contained narrative. But seeing David Fincher direct a Batman movie, for me, would be a brilliant thing to see, as he knows how to handle a lot of darker themes, and many moviegoers cite his movie Seven as one of the main inspirations for Matt Reeves' Batman, so I think he could bring to life a Batman movie that keeps the darkness of the character. The Russo brothers are two pillars of cinema and have been for the past nearly 10 years, directing 2 Captain America movies, 2 Avengers films, and more recently they directed The Grey Man for Netflix, so I could see James Gunn bringing them in to perhaps direct one of 2 projects. With the first one being a spy-orientated movie which would allow for that Winter Soldier-style grounded action which I really loved, or they could direct one of the larger event movies like Justice League for example. I would like to see what they could do with Tower of Babel, as that is a very iconic storyline and has already been adapted into a movie, albeit an animated one. Now one of the main reasons why I love the adventure genre, Steven Spielberg. He's one of the best directors working in Hollywood and was one of the biggest filmmakers in the 1980s alongside George Lucas and another director on this list. Spielberg's work in the adventure genre and the occasional sci-fi flick leads me into the idea that he should direct a Superman movie. I say this character because Spielberg has been involved in the legacies of iconic characters and I would love to see what he could do with the Superman character. J.J. Abrams is best known for his work in Star Trek, Star Wars Episode 7, and most importantly, Mission Impossible 3. Now, put your pitchforks down, people, because I know Abrams' filmography is certainly mixed in terms of quality, but a majority of it, many of the Star Wars stuff, was down to the studio and not him. But given his extensive background in the sci-fi genre, I'd love to see him bring to life a Green Lantern film, or give him the keys to that entire corner of the DC universe, to adapt it into screen, and I could even see this being something on the scale of what George Lucas did with Star Wars, and even closer to what James Cameron is currently doing with his Avatar movies. And speaking of which, so James Cameron is actually one of my favourite filmmakers working not just today, but he's been working since the 80s, and is that other director I was talking about earlier with Steven Spielberg. Now, obviously James Cameron's not really going to have the time to direct or write anything for DC because currently he is helming Avatar and will obviously be focusing on that for maybe the foreseeable future, maybe for the next 10 years, so he might not even get the chance to direct anything anyway. But let's say if he were to bring his talents to the new DC universe and direct a project, what exactly would that be? Well, I think the best idea for many people would be something that's grounded and realistic, but also a little supernatural, which gives me the idea for Cameron to potentially direct a Justice League Dark movie, because if Guillermo del Toro can't get it right, then I'm sure James Cameron will. And I say Justice League Dark ideally because Cameron mainly focuses on larger scale stuff in his movies. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 had large scale action set pieces, and I'd love to see Cameron tackle something like that he hasn't really done before. Okay, let's be honest, you all saw this one coming. Now, a lot of you know how much I love Edgar Wright as a director. He nearly directed Ant-Man, but most importantly made one of the greatest movies in 2017, despite the now ruined careers of certain actors in that project. But I would absolutely love to see what Edgar Wright could do with a DC film, because my god, that man is talented, and honestly, he could direct literally anything for DC. Seriously, if he sat down and had a meeting with James Gunn, I think Gunn would literally offer him any project he wanted, which I think is similar to what happened when James Gunn went to work for DC and got the Suicide Squad. And that concludes my thoughts on directors I'd love to see contribute to the new DC universe. What do you think about these director ideas, and who would you like to see contribute to this new slate of DC projects? Let me know in the comments below, but thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.